In summary, a PLC that creates and sustains a culture of learning for both staff and students can impact significantly at three levels: staff, school, and the education system. So how can we implement and sustain effective PLCs in schools to actualize these impacts? Let's find out. To implement and sustain an effective PLC, we are going to explore Hip and Huffman's 5 dimensions of PLC. The 5 dimensions are supportive and shared leadership, shared values and vision, collective learning and application, shared personal practice, and supportive conditions, which are structures and relationships. These dimensions are also known as key enablers to implement and sustain an effective PLC, and most importantly, they are interdependent. Under supportive and shared leadership, school leaders, PLT leaders, and members share power, authority, and decision-making while promoting and nurturing leadership. Shared and supportive leadership is an interaction in which school leaders, PLT leaders, and members participate to make collective decisions within a safe environment. As they equally distribute their power, authority, and decision-making, leadership becomes supportive and shared. The PLT leaders and members become less of leaders of implementers and more of leaders of leaders. Together with the school leaders, they lead learning from the center rather than controlling, dictating, and commanding from the top. As a PLC, they champion staff ownership and leadership for professional development efforts toward improving staff and student learning in the school. Under shared values and vision, PLTs share values and vision that support and guide decisions about teaching and learning, with a focus on student and staff learning. Shared values inspire shared vision. Subsequently, student-focused decisions will be aligned with school's strategic goals. This dimension refers to a sense of common purpose, belief, value, or mission among staff in the school. In literature, it is stressed that shared values and vision are important, and if posited without common purposes, practices, and behaviors, the other dimensions of PLC cannot emerge. If a PLC lacks a shared goal, it could cause misunderstanding, conflict, and mistrust among staff. It is also emphasized that there must be an undeviating focus on staff and student learning, which is always a necessity in shared values and vision. Under collective learning and application, PLTs share information and work collaboratively to plan, address teaching and learning challenges, and improve learning opportunities for both staff and students. Staff learning takes many forms. For example, in job-embedded learning, the emphasis is on learning by doing, reflecting on the experience, and then generating and sharing new insights. Furthermore, PLC is a mechanism to promote both individual and collective types of learning, as all staff are learners with their colleagues. Collective learning is manifested through knowledge creation, and PLC cultivates and fosters this type of learning through formal and informal interactions, dialogue, discussions about data, and interpretation of findings. Collective learning also includes collaboration, and PLC goes beyond superficial sharing by generating knowledge not only for the individual but also everyone in the school.
Under the dimension of shared personal practice, peers in a PLT meet and observe one another to provide feedback on pedagogical practices, to assist in student learning, and to increase professional capital. Shared personal practice is developed through deprivatization of practice, in which leaders and members of PLC open their classrooms and engage in peer observations and feedback focused on their pedagogical practices and student learning outcomes. This collaborative and collegial peer discourse help to identify specific teaching and learning gaps and propose potential solutions through the review of students' work and their professional practices. The purpose of this dimension is also to create and provide opportunities for mentoring and coaching, which strengthens peer support within a school. Now, let us look at supportive conditions, which entails both structures and relationships. Structures as supportive conditions refer to the physical factors that help PLC function effectively. Some of these structures are time to collaborate, places to meet at the school, physical proximity of staff, mechanisms through which staff communicate, expert personnel involved in PLC, and funds provided to run a PLC. Supportive conditions, relationships refer to PLCs promoting a positive and caring culture that recognizes and celebrates achievements. Relationships that are based on respect and trust help to promote a positive and caring culture. Such relationships could result in PLT leaders and members being responsive and open to accepting feedback to improve student learning outcomes, resulting in school improvements. Through these relationships, staff are able to build their professional capital and celebrate achievements together as a PLC. As a result, human factors such as cognitive and affective competencies are essential among staff to sustain a positive climate for PLC. Having understood the 5 dimensions of PLC, let us now have a glimpse of how an ideal PLC should look like in a school. Firstly, members can be grouped based on the department they belong to, the level they teach, or even their interest in specific teaching and learning areas. These members meet regularly, preferably during timetable time, to discuss teaching and learning challenges or areas of focus. Members usually collaborate in areas such as designing lesson plans, resources, teaching strategies, and assessment practices. Each PLT is supposed to work collaboratively and collegially. Each PLT should also work to attain high levels of positive staff and student learning outcomes in alignment with school's strategic goals, with the emphasis on teaching and learning. PLTs should deprivatize their teaching practice and collectively engage in an ongoing cycle of reflection that promotes deep team learning through shared experience. To conclude, we would like you to reflect on how you could value add to your school's PLC with the knowledge you have gained from this online module. You will get an opportunity to share your insights at the PLC face-to-face session. Here's wishing you a great learning experience. See you soon!